Well, another New Year's Day, so it was time for another episode of the Daleks, featuring Doctor Who. Right off the bat, as far as Jodie episodes go, this was one of the better ones. It's not too bad. It's got a terrible doctor in it, but, you know. And even some of the kick in the balls moments of it, well, narratively it fit with the couple that they introduce us to in this story. But getting back to why it's one of the better ones, is the simplicity of it worked. Less is more. This is something I've talked about a lot of shows, but some of the some of the best episodes throughout Doctor Who oftentimes didn't have a lot of money spent on it, but it was concept and ideas, and more times than not just basic adventure storytelling and whatnot, and that's all this is, so it works. It's they tried to be cute and clever. It's still there, but it's kind of at a minimum, so it doesn't hurt as bad. But yeah, so basically, you got this couple. This man is obviously into this woman who is basically the low-budget Donna Noble, and she's completely oblivious of him and all this stuff, and she's complaining about some other man and talking to her mom and all this kind of crap. And but they're gonna get together, and spoiler, they do. So they'll live happily ever after, as she punishes him for the rest of his life. And but in the meantime, he's a bit of a weirdo. He keeps every year coming to the storage building just so he can talk to her, and his storage facility, we learn, is filled with the property of other women that he's been involved with. It's like he's keeping trophies, like a serial killer. Hey, wouldn't that be a hilarious twist? So anyway, meanwhile, the Doctor and her new fam, well, they're back to being companions now, I guess. She's suddenly got back to the point that, oh no, the TARDIS is all messed up. What's that about? So she's decided, we've got to reset it, and so we got to land it somewhere and then get out while it's doing it. Otherwise, it will die. And so she set the coordinates for some tropical paradise planet. And won't that be great? We can hang out there while we wait for the TARDIS to fix itself. So she does. And but they don't get to the tropical paradise planet. They instead land inside the storage unit building, because the TARDIS is really messed up, I guess, so it just didn't quite make it to its destination. And it's got all these glowing cracks in it and everything. And Dan's like, is it supposed to do that? And the Doctor's, oh, I've never done this before. And well, that's not true. Remember 11th Doctor, the TARDIS reset? Yeah, I get that. You don't remember? Well, I mean, now granted, the Doctor didn't initiate it. It was damaged by his regeneration, which the same thing happened when Capaldi regenerated into Jodie, because when she got back to the TARDIS, it was all different because it had reset, Yeah. So anyway, while that was happening, I thought, well, great, here's a good opportunity to finally fix that god-awful, hideous TARDIS control room, the absolute worst. So I was hopeful, So anyway, everybody gets exterminated several times over. Why? They're trapped in a time loop. Why? Well, it's right there in front of you. The TARDIS is all messed up, so guess what it's done? It's created some time loop bubble, so that they're stuck in it. And the Daleks were looking for the Doctor out of revenge over what happened during the Flux, which they blame her for, even though it was the Suntarans. But anyway, doesn't matter. Do they really need an excuse to kill the Doctor at this point? No. So but the obvious thing is, oh no, this mysterious time loop, what could be causing it? I don't know. And then, but the Daleks have to, it's your TARDIS, dummy. Yeah. So anyway, but the rest of it, they realize each time they come back, they're getting closer to midnight, and by the time that happens, the time loop will have lapsed and would be over. And this, when the Daleks kill you at the last minute or whatever, then you're dead for good, and that's that. So, oh no, we got to figure this out. Well, along the way, they find some explosive stuff in the building, and tricking the Daleks into blowing everything up. Which they do, and the whole building collapses. And they find the TARDIS, In the meantime, Dan talks to Yaz and says, "You haven't told her, have you?" And she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yeah, you do." "Is that obvious?" And so, but then the Daleks come in and interrupt everything, that's what they do. So then Dan talks to the doctor about this, and she's like, what? What? But then she has that look. But I'm scared. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. You don't get a kiss. You don't get that. But there's the confirmation of this relationship that came out of nowhere. See, when the Doctor and Rose got together, they developed that. It was over time. So you needed to put that in there. Now, the Doctor and Yaz have been together for a while now, yeah, but you didn't really develop anything until just now, really. And while the previous episode, well, there's a brief stare at one another, so look into each other's eyes, So, and that's my problem with the laziness of the show. It's one of the big problems with it. I never really cared whether or not they put them together. I'd actually think that was the more logical and better outcome, because as far as any romance for the Doctor, it was always women. I realized there was never really any storylines in the previous the original series, but boy, did the Doctor prefer women as companions. And all the really important ones, were always women. Like I said, the only really significant male companion was Jamie, and that's it. But if the Doctor turned into a woman, it's gonna be a lesbian. That's just the way it works. So, why is the Doctor hesitant and everything? Well, the Doctor's been hurt before, and, well, she's not a Time Lord. So, although apparently she could be turned into one, Timeless Child, now Tectoween figured it out. So, there you go, Dr. God. Just turn Yaz into a Time Lord. That way you can be together forever. There you go, problem solved. But then she might turn into a man. Yeah. Well, that's the risk you take. So there you go. They updated that, and that's about it. There's some attempts at humor, and sometimes with the Daleks it works a little better. But just the basic of the adventure of trying to outwit them and all this stuff, which actually the Mr. Simp actually outfoxes them, and that's one of the problems, and it's always been a problem with Daleks, and even Dan figures it out. All he has to do is keep ahead of the little, the Dalek ray gun knob, and he's fine. They went round and round they go. He might get dizzy though, but then he just stops. And so the Dalek kills him. It doesn't matter. It's time loop, so he comes back. But still, he could have kept going. He was doing it to distract him while the Doctor was busy working on her plan. Which, there again, Dan has to show the Doctor what a real hero does. So anyway, but there's the problem. You basically just have to duck and all that. So. Yeah. So anyway, they finally, the Doctor gets the better of the Daleks, then they blow themselves up, and the whole building and all that stuff, and it collapses. And then there's the TARDIS and all the rubble, and it's all restored. It's not crackling with lightning or whatever it was. And oh, cool! There we got the TARDIS, and the couple go off to have a vacation together or whatever, and that's all well and good. And then the fireworks go off because apparently there was fireworks in the building, and they all look at it, and it's almost a romantic moment. And then there's a brief stare between Yaz and the Doctor, and Dan sitting there like, yeah. And so then they go, let's go check out the TARDIS to see how the reset went. It's the same control room. This hideous, god-awful thing with this ginormous phallic symbol control panel. With, again, Dan sitting there. Yeah, you two are going to get it on. So yeah, that's what it is. And and Jody wears the trousers. That's going to be the case. But what? That's their business. So there you are, Eve of the Daleks. For a while there, I thought, the low budget Donna Noble character would be named Eve. But no, I think her name was Sarah. Oh, Sarah. But no, not that kind of Sarah. But anyway, there you go, Eve of the Daleks. Yeah. I guess it was supposed to be New Year's Eve is when it happened. So that's your Eve. Next up, apparently, is the Sea Devils. So there you go. I mean, they spent most of their money on the stupid Flux storyline, so you could see why it had to be done on the cheap here for the Daleks, but it was all right. It's fine. It worked out, and you don't really need a lot of money to do interesting stories. You just have to be able to write one. And for all intents and purposes, they pretty much did on this one. So it's one of the better ones. Usually, when there's one of the good ones, the next one just is absolute torture. Probably maybe more Timeless Child crap will be in that one. Well, is there anything left to kill? Doctor Who now? Yeah. So anyway, Sea Devils. And we'll see how that goes. Maybe it'll just be one Sea Devil, and they're stuck inside some indoor pool facility. And the Sea Devil chases them around, yeah. We'll see. Well, we'll see. Anyway, there you go. Doctor Who and the Eve of the Daleks. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness, so many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.